Welcome back to statistics. Let's talk about that first WebAssign assignment. As we saw in our last video, all your assignments are going to be down here in the course summary. And the WebAssign assignments are going to be they're all going to look the same here. They're going to start with the word homework, and then there'll be a number and then some descriptive information. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now what that does is pull up another Canvas page. So we're not on WebAssign yet, but there is a link to WebAssign here. There's also a little bit of information about the homework up here, the due date. This information about the points, it's not actually entirely accurate. The points, this assignment, it is going to count. There are points associated with this assignment, but the points are just going to be kept track of on WebAssign, not on Canvas. And so don't think that this means that this assignment doesn't count. It does. To get to the assignment itself, we need to go ahead and click on the link. So I'll do that here. That's going to bring you to the sign in page for WebAssign. So just click the button. And our WebAssign page will come up. Here it comes. This page is kind of busy. Here it is. There's a lot of stuff up here, including your ebook and more stuff. But really where you need to go is go over here to the left-hand sidebar to Courses and go to our Math 121 course here. And that will bring up the home page for our course here, our Math 121 course. And so here you see that home page on WebAssign for our course. The first thing that you notice is a list of assignments. So I've got basically all the assignments out there for this week so far. There's other things that are useful. There's a calendar, announcements. Let me point out in particular in the lower right here, this is our ebook, and we'll be talking about that in another video here shortly. But let's take a look at a WebAssign assignment and see what that's like. So I'm just going to pop open Homework 1.1a on descriptive and inferential statistics. So bang, and there it is. We're getting a little bit of an advertisement here. It's reminding us that our free WebAssign trial expires soon. Remember, you will have to purchase WebAssign at some point in the near future, so be thinking about how you're going to do that. You'll need a credit card for that. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that so we can just look at the homework assignment. So there's some header information, including your current score, which is nothing right now because we haven't done anything, the total number of questions, the total number of points, some information about the due date over here, information about how you can submit. In these assignments, typically you can submit each question individually if you prefer that, or you can also submit the entire assignment at once if you prefer that. And I should mention that each question can be submitted up to 5 times on this assignment. And all of the assignments will have multiple submissions like that, at least 3. And so the point of the homework is really to learn. And so that's why multiple submissions are allowed, and we want you to do the very best you possibly can on the assignment. So let's kind of just take a look at the very first question here and kind of get an idea of how it would go. The question is, and a lot of the questions are kind of like this, they're wordy, and that's just part of statistics. It's not like a typical math course where you might have like just an equation to solve or something. Reading is very important in statistics, and reading carefully is important. So let's read this one. Recent research consistently reports that persistent poverty has more detrimental effects on IQ, school achievement, and socio-emotional functioning than transitory poverty. Researchers that investigated this hypothesis were interested in learning more about poverty among all Michigan children aged 0 to 17 years. The researchers reported that in 2014, among 492,257 children in this group, 22.6% live below the poverty threshold. So then the question, determine whether the following statement is true or false. The statement, quote, among 492,257 children in this group, 22.6% live below the poverty threshold, unquote, is an inference about poverty among all Michigan children. So, and by the way, that answer that was marked is just it. I think that's because I was here before as I was rehearsing this talk. It's not the correct answer, or I don't even know if it's just randomly selected. Don't assume it's correct or incorrect. Um, what I wanted to just say for a minute here is give you a quick sort of Cliff Notes version of what inferential statistics is. Inferential statistics is when you take data from a smaller group and use it to make estimates or make claims about a larger group. Inferential statistics is one of the two main branches of statistics, the other being descriptive statistics. In descriptive statistics, you're simply concerned with describing the group that you have data for. So if, for instance, think about this situation. Suppose I did a random sample of 100 Hampden-Sydney students, and I found that 48 of them preferred Donald Trump for president in the November elections that are upcoming. That 48 out of 100, or 48%, would be a descriptive statistic because I'm simply talking about the 100 students that I actually collected data from, right? If, on the other hand, I went a step further and said, well, based on these results, I would estimate that somewhere between 45% and 51% of all Hampden-Sydney students would prefer Trump in the election. That would be an inference. I would be making a move from the data that I actually have about the smaller group of 100 to a claim or an estimate about the larger group of all Hampden-Sydney students. So that distinction between descriptive statistics, which is simply about describing the data that you actually have, to inferential statistics, which is about using the data you have to make a larger claim, typically about a larger group. That distinction is essential in statistics, and we'll be talking about it in depth in our first module. So based on that, what would you think is true, or do you think the correct answer here is true or false? I'll just let you think about that a little bit. The rest of the questions in the assignment are all multiple choice, I believe. I would just point out here that like Canvas quizzes, WebAssign quizzes aren't always multiple choice. There will be fill in the blank. There can be multiple answer where there's more than one correct choice. There can even be essay type questions on WebAssign. So there's a variety of the kinds of questions you'll get. But once you've answered the question, so if I thought, for instance, the answer here was true, then you can submit that answer right here by itself. Just click that button. Or if you prefer, you can wait and do the entire assignment and then submit it in its entirety. Now, actually, I would recommend the second. I would recommend looking at each of these WebAssign homeworks as kind of a mini quiz. And because when we get to our module test, you're not going to have multiple attempts at those, and you're not going to be able to submit individual answers. You're going to have to do the whole quiz and then submit it in its entirety. So I'd actually recommend that you do the same thing on WebAssign. That'll give you more, that you'll still have, if you submit the whole quiz and you get, half of them wrong, you can still go back and do the same thing over again. In fact, you'll have, typically 3 to 5 submissions on each WebAssign homework. But that result you get on the very first submission is important because it reflects how well you know the material. And that's exactly what we're going to be measuring with those module tests for as well. So I'd recommend that you, first of all, prepare for a homework by reading the module that it's associated with. And then do your very best on that first WebAssign submission to do as well as you can on that, because that's going to be a better indication of how you would do on a module quiz or a module test that we'll have later. So that's a quick little tour of WebAssign homework. As always, let me know if you have questions. And as always, have a good one, and we'll talk again real soon.